Hi, and welcome back to Siren Stories, the podcast, with me, JJ Barnes, and him, Jonathan McKinney.
Hello.
We are recording Season 1, Episode 1
Yes.
of Loki.
Yes.
I don't know if there's going to be a Season 2. I'm just sort of...
These don't feel like they're going to have lots and lots of...
They don't. But I was like, what if someone like in 10 years' time is listening to this and there's like 50 seasons of Loki? So...
Yeah.
Season 1, Episode 1.
Welcome you from the future. Which is apt.
Yeah, I know. I've got time jumps in the brain.
Yeah.
So, Loki came out today.
Yes. Wednesday, the 9th of June in the year of our Lord, 2021.
We have deposited our children at their establishment of education, come home, and watched the episode, and now we are recording it. It's 10:30 in the morning, so we've been pretty efficient.
Yes, we have.
And so, if you're unfamiliar with our podcast, basically we break it into 4 parts. We discuss the plot, everything that has gone on in the episode we have just watched. Then we talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, and then we talk about thoughts and theories for the future.
Mm-hmm.
However, because it's us and we're completely scatterbrained, we do tend to mix those up. We have a bit of a multiverse situation going on. We kind of jump back and forth in time, moving about our different sections. But basically, that's what we intend to do.
Correct.
So, and if you haven't listened to this before, we've also done WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. So go back and listen to those 2 because they're excellent.
Yes.
So, basically, a little bit about us. We are writers. We are filmmakers. We are big story junkie nerds. We love Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about Marvel. Well, I talk because I do a YouTube series where I talk about writing advice. I talk about Marvel things quite a lot because the writing is so good. So yeah, we're watching it both as fans of the, like, both the genre and the actual particular industry.
Yeah.
And we also are experienced in the writing side. So we have a perspective that covers both.
Yeah, and we directed a film, so we're familiar with that too, but we've done that once.
Yeah.
And with a very small budget, so we're not as familiar
Yeah, we aren't up to
with
this.
the directing lingo as...
No.
Or rather the sort of...
choices and...
the techniques, I suppose,
Yeah.
as we are with writing. With writing, we're pretty...
Yeah, I feel
glued
pretty
up.
solid on the writing,
Yeah.
but yeah, the filmmaking side,
We're learning.
we're still learning, yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, it still counts. One film is better than non-films.
Yeah, it is.
So, Section 1, Loki,
Okay.
right? The plot of Loki.
So, Loki escapes...
We get to go back to 2012
yes.
and watch that Siddles from Endgame again.
Yeah, everybody's in it.
Everyone's there. You get Hulk being shut out of the lift and then smashing out the door and knocking Stark along, and the Tesseract popping out of the suitcase. You see Ant-Man running along, like, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
You go back to that scene we've seen quite a lot now.
Yeah.
Because it's been revisited at different points.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it has. Specifically what we saw in this when the stuff from Endgame. So, yeah, so Loki escapes. He finds himself in the desert somewhere. He tries to do his big Loki peacock thing.
It's
they
met
don't
with
speak
just
English.
like, what? Which is very funny.
Yeah.
Kudos to Tom Hiddleston, I think, because he just plays it like he's having it, like he's there, he's in, he's doing it. And then the little windows open up.
Yeah,
and
the little slabby windows.
yeah, and the TVA.
The TVA. The
Minutemen.
Time Variance Authority.
Are they the Minutemen?
Yeah.
I think they're the Minutemen.
Yeah. They show up and they're very strong and they can slow him down and punch him and his little wobbly face goes wobbly
yeah, when
for
he's
about...
going at 1/16 of his normal speed, but feeling it in real time, which is cool. Yeah, and it's interesting. I think it tells you quickly how powerful they are because they do overpower him very easily, and you're not used to that. Like, it takes the Avengers to overpower him, and they have a struggle. And then these guys show up, and they've got their suits of armor and stuff, but bam, he's down. They've got the little collar on him, and off he goes.
Off he goes. This is a trend with regards to the sons of Odin, right?
Yeah.
That sometimes they find themselves outnumbered by people who put little collars on them and force them very sort of humorously into subjugated positions.
Yeah, and then having to sort of travel along while different things are happening.
Yeah, because this is very much like what happens to Thor in Ragnarok.
In Ragnarok,
when he's in his little chair.
Yeah, exactly, and he's like, I am mighty.
Yeah, exactly. Not necessarily derivative of that, but a welcome
it's
Loki version.
I think it's not derivative, but definitely easy to compare.
Yeah.
But because I think it is good when you have a character you've established as very, very powerful and literally a god, like which he keeps talking about. So he keeps like, I'm a god.
Yeah.
But then having like the only way you can sort of bring them down a peg or two is to really crash them down, because there's so many pegs up that if you only bring them down a peg or two, you know what I mean? Like they're fine. You have to proper like floor them, otherwise they aren't going to be brought down.
Yeah. So this is very much the character. Obviously, we know him very well, but at this point, most of the stuff we've seen hasn't happened to him.
Yeah, so he's still Loki of
2 films, basically, Thor and the Avengers.
So he hasn't sort of transitioned his character, hasn't arced into the person who is actually likable and.
Yeah, but obviously he's still there because towards the end, there's a bit of honesty from him.
Yeah, but he's still the more sort of hostile and power-hungry, crazed Loki.
He's more connected to his mission.
Yeah.
Than he will be later, because of course his mission fails.
Yeah.
And he, moves on from that sort of desire to rule Earth.
Yeah. Midgard. I like the intro to this. I'm not going to talk about not what we like, but like the way he's moved through the little rooms.
Yes.
Is funny.
Take a ticket.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the take a ticket. When they like zap the guy and then he's like looking for his ticket. Yeah. He's like holding it up in the air. The aesthetic of the time variation agency.
Yeah.
Very sort of 70s, lots of browns.
Okay.
Sort of vintagey.
Yeah.
And
well, they could be anything they like, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess that's the point. Like they've chosen that very sort of brown and sort of both very, it's sort of I suppose steampunky in a way, in the sense that it's both very modern,
but with like weird little gadgets,
vintagey
and robotic.
Yeah, robotic gadgetry and but old fashioned. The little screens remind me. In Lost, when they go to the Swan Station, they've got those little old screens. And it's sort of like, it's really crazy advanced technology that they're playing with. Blended with the really vintage retro style. It reminded me of that from Lost. Yeah. The combination of very, very modern, powerful, strong, like,
because there's a strange robot with a big smiley face that and it disintegrates his fine Asgardian leather.
Yeah, but it's like it's very sort of what robots were thought of to look like back when they were making TV in the 70s. But it's sort of, you know what I mean, and how technology looked back then. But then actually a really modern, advanced bit of kit.
So it might be that when the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, was it? When that was created by whoever created it in comic books, it might have been that it was the 70s and that it was designed to look like this.
That would make sense.
And they've just kept it and made it look the way it looks. And I don't know.
I like it because it's interesting. I like the juxtaposition. But it's noteworthy, I think, and it's interesting. And whether it'll be explored, like the reasons, I don't know, but I like it. So then we go to Owen Wilson, don't we, after that?
So Owen Wilson, Mobius is hunting for, well, apparently Loki, but the little kid pointed to a picture of the devil. Yeah,
but when you look at what the devil in that's wearing, he's got green robes, and then he's got the big horns, which is exactly how Loki looked back when he was in Germany, and he's got his big front horns and he's got his green robes. So I was like, I assumed that it was going to be Loki, a variant of nice. A variant of Loki, based on specifically how that stained glass window had been designed to look.
Right.
But I don't think it is.
I mean, we're back at Mephisto again.
Yeah.
Because he's the devil.
I don't think it is going to be Loki.
I don't think it'll be Loki either, because we didn't see him at the end. Like,
and it's too obvious as well to me. Like,
well, if you're going to say it's him, then show it's him. Because then Or you won't, like, again, if it was actually Loki, then I would have Mobius, when Loki says, who is this variant? I'd have him look at Loki, but not actually say it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then show Loki doing it.
Yeah.
Like, show the scene exactly as it is with the oily field. And Loki smiling and walking off.
Yeah, exactly. But, like, it both feels that it was set up for the audience to assume it's Loki. Then they say it's Loki.
And then we see whoever it is, but we don't see whoever it is.
So could it be... we haven't got thoughts on theories. We do this all the time.
We can't. In fact, the Mephisto thing has to stop. Because,
why?
Well, because it was the theory all the way through WandaVision, then it was the joke all the way through Falcon and Winter Soldier. It can't go back to being the theory in this.
But it could be.
And it's not going to be a funny joke for very much longer if it's still funny at all. So
I'm sticking with it.
I'm thinking I might ban myself from saying the word ever again, unless the character ever appears in this cinematic universe. So what happens next? Yeah, he gets his ticket. He goes on trial. The judge woman, sort of sentences him. He argues a little bit, but ultimately most of his arguing is incredibly futile here.
Yeah.
So Mobius shows up, saves his life, and says... I mean, is there anything else you wanted to say about the scene that introduces Mobius hunting for...
No, not particularly.
Loki/fake Loki.
I liked it. I like Owen Wilson. Owen.
Yeah.
I was like, no, it was Luke. No, it wasn't. It was Owen.
Yeah, because I kept thinking Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
No, it's not Matthew.
No, yeah. I was like, oh, well, no. It's because he's grown up so much, isn't it? They've all aged since we used to watch these guys. They've become proper men.
When he had little floppy yellow hair.
Yeah, exactly.
Gosh. Wow.
It's like, oh, you're a grown-up.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, God, what's happened to us? We've all grown up.
Yeah. So, the scene where he's, she's got blue teeth because of a snack and... Not sure what to make of that.
They scan the chewing gum stuff. But I have a question about the scene with the judge.
Okay.
Right, because if everybody just gets
sentenced, then what's the point?
And also, like, they zapped the guy who didn't have a ticket. Like,
they don't... Yeah, it seems quite performative that they have this whole rigmarole, because it feels a bit like they've already decided what they're going to do.
They've already decided what they're going to do, and like, if you have to have a ticket or you'll get zapped, like, what's the
point?
Like, if the ticket machine is right there, like, why didn't they just be like?
I assume that when that guy got zapped, he got put back where he came from, to go back into his regular timeline, his approved timeline. Because you think about it, if the Time Variance Authority wants Loki to be not there with them, but rather following his path as he's supposed to be, but then they say, like, prune or reset. I assume reset means you go back. Prune must mean, I don't know, like, then what happens to the timeline? Because if Loki's not there, it's a pretty big change in events.
But I think
he has to go back.
Original Loki is still there.
Well, what's the problem then? Why not let this timeline breathe?
Because if they have new Loki, it's the Trousers of Time problem. They end up with the multiverse.
So I suppose by pruning Loki, by turning him into a little zappy former person, then the timeline is snipped off. Yeah. The original one's still there. Yeah. And job done.
Yeah, exactly. They've prevented a multiverse.
So any action that he takes is going to keep branching out. Yeah. So they should just zap him and have done with it. But then we wouldn't have a TV show. Yeah. And so Mobius doesn't want that. So he gives us a TV show to watch. Yeah. Which is Loki versus Loki, or possibly Loki versus Mephisto, or possibly Loki versus somebody else.
Definitely Loki versus Mephisto. I'm going with it. I'm going to ride with it.
Like, everything now. Everything.
I will.
Forever.
I'll just assume. And you know what? If it is Mephisto, it'll be hilarious.
It will be really funny. Especially if they just make the, like, maybe halfway through and it's like, it's Loki, but it's not. It's Mephisto. Oh, right. Good. Yeah, okay. So then Mobius shows Loki a little room where he tries to do a bit of a deep dive into Loki's psyche, his goals and his desires.
He shows him his past, he shows him his life, and tries to sort of... We don't really know why, I don't think.
why Mobius is doing what he's doing.
Yeah. I get that he wants Loki's help to hunt what he thinks is Loki.
Yeah.
But I suppose it's to break down the... I'm saying we don't know, but when he's trying to get to the heart of it, like, do you like hurting people? Like, do you like killing people? He's probably just trying to sort of psychologically break him a bit and make him somebody he can work with. Because if he keeps on the high horse and the hoity-toity, you can't really work with him because he will betray you and hurt you.
So ultimately he's trying to bond with him.
Yeah.
So that he'll have his loyalty.
Yeah.
As much as you can get from Loki.
Yeah.
And, Thor constantly finds himself expecting, or, being betrayed because he expects too much loyalty from his brother. So, Mobius is doing that.
Yeah. And I liked him doing it.
And he's got time.
Yeah, exactly.
So he might as well.
Yeah. Then Loki escapes, uses the little zap zipper.
Yeah, he's
pickpockets it.
He's a scamp.
He is a mischievous scamp, and he escapes, and he slaps the collar on
the Hunter B152 or whatever.
Yeah, and then zip-zaps her back and forth.
Yeah.
But I really, when he finds Casey,
yes.
and he's like, give me the Tesseract, because he thinks, if I get the Tesseract, I will be able to escape. It's powerful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh my god, Infinity Stones.
Loads of them, yeah.
Yeah. And because, of course, every time the Infinity Stones have, created a multiverse, they've ended up with yet more Infinity Stones. And it's so funny just because, for Loki at first, it's like, oh my god, the most powerful things in the universe. I can get... And then it's like, oh god.
They just sit here.
They're used as paperweights. And it's a really clever demonstration to the audience, because we've watched Infinity War, we've watched Endgame, we have seen that
this
just holding them kills you.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you're a supreme being or whatever.
Yeah.
This is a great way of sort of saying, Thanos was a little baby compared to these guys.
Yeah, exactly. Because when he says Loki, oh no, you're a pussycat compared to the bad which is another reason it could be Mephisto, right? right.
Yeah.
Because a god of mischief, who we're used to seeing as big and terrible and scary and monstrous, Thanos with his Infinity Stones, the Infinity Stones are powerless against them.
Yeah.
So it can't just be a god, it can't just be a monster, it can't be somebody who's terribly strong or terribly bad or terribly dangerous. So a devil isn't just another monster, another this, that, or the other.
There you go. # confirmed.
By me. From episode 1, right? And I realised we did this with WandaVision.
Well, we didn't really. Everybody else did.
We did talk about it a lot though, with the fly and
Well, that people were onto the Mephisto long before.
I know, but my point is, we were like, well, there is this is all hinting towards it, isn't it? So I'm not saying that I'm definitely right, but I am saying that if I am right,
look, they put a picture of the devil, he's the devil, so it
is a perfectly valid theory, even though I agree it's a theory that they might just do it every so
time
often.
now. Yeah,
it could be Mephisto, and then they'll bring out a TV show called Mephisto, and he'll have been popping up in every other show, twiddling things, and they'll flash back to
So
sorry, I'm getting overexcited.
There was talk of the multiverse being sort of chiseled into one timeline.
Yeah.
Because it was going to destroy everything. That was Miss Minutes.
Miss Minutes. Do you know who voiced Miss Minutes?
Tara Strong.
Yeah. Do you know who Tara Strong voices?
Rainbow Dash.
Twilight Sparkle.
She's Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
So,
but I was like, oh, Tara Strong is Twilight Sparkle.
I knew she was the ponies in the My Little Ponies. But yeah, she's a bunch of DC animated characters too. So they talk about the multiverse, and it says literally it will lead to madness. So you've got Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness coming out next year, is it?
I wondered if Doctor Strange would appear in this.
Well, it's more, I think that it's
setting up.
It's all sort of alluding to
a multiverse being created.
Or that is the new Thanos threat, the thing that's going to, and it'll be complicated because everybody's got their own agenda. Wanda will want to get her kids back.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange sort of feels like he would fit in quite well with these people.
Yeah.
Because he's all about protecting the timeline and etc. But again, he's there going, "Oh, I've got to protect my Infinity Stone." They're just playing dice with Infinity Stones in this place. So you can't really... Like, Loki can't go back to thinking that anybody is impressive now. Like, and what's so funny is you could have a scene, because this show, if it wanted... Like, I don't think it would, because it would be too expensive probably. But if they wanted to, they could have a scene where Loki kills Thanos. Over and over again in a bunch of different ways. With the power that he's being and you've seen that he's watched Thanos kill him, and he's "You will never be a god." He says that line. Where you see him, you hear him from Infinity War. I think Loki would enjoy killing Thanos over and over again. And he could, but like again, I don't think we'll see that. But it would be really funny to watch. Because
Thanos is this big bad. The Infinity Stones are this big bad, and
he could just literally have a suit made of them if he wanted. He's like, I'm just collecting all of these, and I'm going back out there where these actually are powerful.
I think that does tell you how powerful whoever the bad of the show is, because whoever is the bad of the show is more powerful than Thanos.
It has to be, because to pose a threat, or at least has to know about the power that is available here. Because that's what Loki says. Is this the most powerful place in the universe, or the most powerful, whatever it is he says, the most powerful something in the universe? Or the greatest power in the universe, I think it is. Because, to him, why faff about? Because, again, 2012 Loki is sucking up to Thanos because Thanos gave him the Tesseract, or rather gave him the Chitauri, didn't he? The floating space lizard army that he used to... But he already had the Tesseract. I think he stole it. So that Loki, 2012 Loki, has been sucking up to Thanos and making deals with Thanos.
And now realises that...
Now he's like, well, you're a pussycat too, because we all are. Who knew? We're all a bunch of babies.
Like, what's the point? Like, nothing I do could be ever be more powerful than this. So it does tell you how powerful Mephisto... I can't believe this.
Right.
So
Mephistoki.
We watch
Loki, but it's not.
Loki's attempts to escape, and he threatens Casey with being gutted like a fish.
What's a fish?
What's a fish? He's like, I want to understand what I'm being threatened with before I comply. But then he goes back to the room and he watches his mother die again. He watches his father die. He watches him die.
Well, he watches himself bond with Thor as well.
Watches
Those
himself...
are like the three things that he sees, like the mother's death, the father's death, and...
Bonding with Thor. And then himself die. And it kind of breaks him. And it's... he just realises, like, what is the point? Like, I'm never going to be the king of Midgard and the Nine Realms. Like, even if I was, I wouldn't be very powerful because of these guys.
I'm basically just doing what they allow me to do.
Exactly.
Where's the pride in that?
And it does. And then he just when Owen Wilson Mobius comes back, and he's like, he describes himself as the weak. And he gestures to himself when he says the weak, trying to inspire fear. Like, he's brought down, like...
when he says that's what Mobius and his people are doing, he's totally projecting. So
but
it makes sense that he's brought around...
but it shows a recognition of himself. It shows a humility, a humble...
Well, that's what this episode does, is it humbles 2012 Loki... By like rushing him through all the stuff he doesn't know is going to happen to him. Do you know what I mean? All the events that do humble him.
Exactly.
Not that he's a redeemed character.
No, but it gives him the humility, and also like both based on the events of his life which he witnesses, and based on the power he doesn't have. And it like changes him, and you can see it. He just sits there and he recognizes himself. It's really good.
Well, it breaks apart all the narratives that he's got in his head of his future. It just totally smashes them into pieces and drops them at his feet. And that's what has been fueling all of his effort. So all of his efforts for such a long time.
It's interesting because you're saying like the future that he thought. Because one of the things in my book, What Ivy Wants, when a marriage ends, one of the things she struggles most with is that her future that she could see in her head, what was going to happen in her future, it's broken and it's gone. And it breaks her because everything she thought was coming isn't. And it's as you can see with Loki, like the future he saw for himself, that he was working for and building to and fighting for and risking everything for and alienating his family for. It's never going to happen anyway. Like, it was never going to happen. And it's gone. And he has to sort of accept this blank space now, this void in front of him. That's...
Yeah, it could be called What Loki Wants.
What Loki Wants.
This show. And to be fair, like that is pretty much the big theme. Yeah. From, like, you know, character perspective of this episode is what does Loki want? Does he want to hurt people or does he do it because of something else? Yeah. So, yeah, I agree. Ivy and Loki.
There you go.
Sitting in a tree.
An unexpected comparison. I never thought I would make them before I watched this.
That's correct.
Then we go to, after that, when he shows him that they're hunting for him, and we go to the end with the episode.
And it's, what, 3,000 years ago, is it? Or 1,000 years ago? Or
18-something, I thought it was.
Oh, so it's not that long ago at all.
But there's a star from 3,000, from the year 3000 something. It's from the third millennium. Right. So this is from the scene is set in 18 something, I think 62, but I'm not going to swear to it. The star that's in the ground is from 3000 something.
So in the future.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I got it in my head that it was something from the ancient past, but that's
the France was.
That wasn't even that far back. I thought it was thousands of years ago, like a couple of thousands of years ago. But I mistook.
That's all right. I mean, I might be wrong. So I'm just speaking as if I'm certain. I've just watched this at the same time as you. Then, you watch... They were about to prune the place and put the charge down. And you know what's interesting is they said that they keep having their charges stolen. Right. The things that wipe out, like, reset the timeline on Earth. Yeah. Whoever Mephisto... is. Yeah. Potentialo.
Yeah.
That's smooth. It's good. It's a good nickname. He's collecting these reset charges.
Right. Maybe Loki's the villain in the Multiverse of Madness. Maybe he's the next villain in Marvel because he's going to actually steal the power from the TVA and go and become king of everything, you know? Yeah. Maybe that's what the...
Yeah, it's telling you now. It's like, he's actually going to achieve what he wanted, but bigger, because he's going to take this power,
Maybe.
So, we've done the episode.
Yes.
So, reorganise ourselves.
Okay.
Section 2. What did you like?
Did you like? So, I liked everything. I was very happy when it started and it was 2012.
Yeah,
you see that New York skyline.
Everything now I'm going to be saying is going to be
everything is about timelines. I was very happy to see everybody.
Yeah, I found it very funny very quickly. Yeah. I was laughing, I was pleased because I found Falcon Winter Soldier, there was funny bits. Yeah. But it was quite a serious show. Yeah. And again, funny bits, and I really enjoyed it, so nothing against it. And I like a serious show. But I was quite enjoying a change of pace and going in with funny.
Yeah, plus Tom Hiddleston
as funny.
Loki is now hasn't at all become old or tired.
No, and it's really interesting because when they did Loki as the villain, I don't know, obviously. I don't know, but I feel like they might not have been intending as much Loki content.
I don't know. I mean, maybe not.
I feel like the character, they had to arc him to somebody good and likeable, essentially, because everyone loves Tom Hiddleston as Loki. Everyone, and you can't just keep bringing him back as a baddie all the time because he'll become unlikable. The more you see him murdering and destroying, the less likable that it's going to become, and the less people will want to see him. But you're like, well, he brings in the audiences, so we've got to send him on a journey. We've got to make him somebody people can root for.
Like Spike.
Yeah, exactly. Again. You have to make it somebody they can root for because otherwise they won't want to keep seeing him.
Or like Baron
Zemo.
Not Zumo or Nemo, as we repeatedly said during the Falcon Winter Soldier podcast that we did.
You sort of, if you've got someone that an audience connects with, you have to sort of make them root-forable.
Yes, root-forable.
Root-forable. Thank you.
Rootable for. Rootab-forable.
Yeah, that's the one. Rooted-forable.
Rootab-forable. You must, writers in the podcasting audience, you must make your popular villainous characters root-fortable. Root-fortable. No, that's not it.
I really enjoyed Owen Wilson. I enjoyed him very much. I've always liked him on screen anyway. He has this very sort of affable...
And maybe maybe Mobius and the Wasp will get together. Oh no, that's Kate from Lost, isn't it? Who's Rachel McAdams in this? She's Doctor Strange's ex.
Yeah. Yeah,
maybe she will meet up with him and they can do Wedding Crashers again.
That'd be fun.
But with now Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
Zack! So...
But yeah, I did. I liked him very much. The only thing I didn't like, I found the amount of brown and orange.
Yeah. You just hate autumn.
It's my favourite season. But I found it, I really loved the look of the world that they're in.
Yeah.
I just thought that was beautiful. I loved that. I found it a little bit, the set, a little bit blah. But also, I wish I had a bit more clarity on the legal system that they are using. It felt
like it was an antagonist for Loki rather than a thing that would exist.
Exactly, because it's like, what was the point? There's no trial. It was just I get it, like it was funny and it worked really well, but I would want some kind of understanding because like they've got this huge, massive city, right? So all the variants...
This woman, she gets up every morning to go and sit in her...
And just condemn a variant to be blotched.
Does she not be like, what is the point of my life?
What is the point? And, like, if they're just going to blotch all these variants, like, what's the point of the trial? Also, do you know what confused me? One more thing. And, like, the other thing is, like, I want to understand more of the legal system that is inbuilt to it.
Yes.
Right? But when they're dragging Loki off, right, Owen Wilson just sits there until... Loki uses a line that he can answer. Like, what if they just blotched him? His whole plan would have gone. He was just sitting there watching until Loki says he's sort of like... And then he's like, well, I might have a idea of what you can do.
Yeah.
Like, why not just be like, straight away, like, excuse me, Judge, I obviously know, because he has a little bit of, you know...
Well, because...
He's just sitting there. Like, he could have got blotched. He could have missed his opportunity to work with Loki.
Because this was composed and not... You know, because Mobius did not act in accordance with his actual goals in that moment. He acted in accordance with what the writers wanted him to do.
Exactly, and that stuck out to me.
Yeah, well,
because that was unnatural.
Because it's not necessarily bad writing because it's entertaining and...
Yeah, and it works.
But it's not good character work. Because,
exactly.
like you say, you've established that he wants something. He doesn't intercede to obtain what he wants, even though he's about to lose it.
Yeah, he waits until Loki gives a good line. If Loki hadn't said that, was he just going to sit there? Was he going to wait until Loki was blotched?
Maybe that's who Mobius is. He's like, look, I came by on the off chance that he would give me, like, he'd tee me up to say something cool. But he didn't, so I'll try and fight Loki from a different timeline in a different way. You're right.
That bugged me.
There's you know, the cartoon film Transformers the Movie? You're familiar with that one?
I know what you're going to say, because I thought exactly the same thing.
What?
The Miss Minutes little intro video was so 80s cartoon.
Oh, right. Well, I wasn't going to say... That's not why I'm bringing that up.
Oh my gosh, I was thinking it's Transformers, it's Thundercats, it's like just everything about it looked exactly like...
The cartoon explanation of who the timekeepers are and all of that stuff, because it did look like an 80s cartoon.
But you weren't going to talk about that.
No. So in Transformers the movie, the cartoon film,
one of your favourite films
from
ever.
like 1985 or whatever. One of my favourite films ever is a stretch now, but when I was like 7, very much so. Yeah, there is a scene where Hot Rod and Cup find themselves on this, random planet where they are on trial. Right. And there's this 4-headed judge, and it spins round one by one, and it's like, have you reached the verdict? And then they all spin round and say, guilty, guilty, guilty. It's the same thing. It's like, what the fuck is happening on this planet?
Yeah.
And they have people in cages. They have robot like Transformers in cages. And they, one by one, they wheel them out, they stick them on this, like, walk the plank type thing, and they say, you are found guilty, but they don't charge them with anything, and then they drop them into this thing with Sharktacons who then eat them. Sharktacons, yeah. There's some nerd deep dive for you. So, my point was, I got vibes of that. Like, I see what, like, how this feels for Loki. It's you're in a foreign place with customs you don't understand, but, yeah, as an audience, you're like, what on earth?
Yeah. Are there multiples of these judges? Or... Because the room was empty. It was just him and the other guy who got blotched, right?
Yeah, it didn't feel like they take their legal commitment very seriously.
Yeah. And also, right, I was like, you've got a massive city full of people.
Yeah.
But one judge in an empty room.
Yeah. And, like, little space shuttles that fly across...
Yeah, exactly.
Expanses.
It's like, how many people are working in a world where one judge is really, that's all that's needed, because the room is empty. It's not like they've got a massive queue of variants to prosecute, which means
the last guy didn't even get through that bit,
and it also means there can't be that many variants because there's not many variants in the courtroom. So how many teams are out there? Like, how are they populating this city?
Well, one assumes that the people... because Loki says, like, did the timekeepers create you to do this?
Yeah.
And he says yes. So I was wondering, like, can you be born here on Earth, find yourself in the TVA, and then go and work there? Do you know what I mean? Like,
why create all those people to live in a city where you've got one or two variants a day?
Yeah.
Like, or is there loads and loads of judges and they just send one or two in there? In which case, why have they got their ticket system?
That's the question, isn't it? If you play with Infinity Stones like paperweights, which is funny because of all the Thessalers,
I agree. Made me think of that too.
Yeah, of course. If that's the amount of power you've got, and you can, why populate this city? Why not just kill Loki where he was?
What is the judge doing when Loki's been taken away? There was nobody else in the queue.
Yeah, well, she's like martinis now. She's off to the
good life.
TVA hotspots.
I want more, and I realise it's episode 1. We've not seen a lot, so you're gonna.
It is profoundly locked into Loki's perspective. So we are as confused as he is.
Yeah, I agree. So I feel like we will start to get more development of how it all works. I was just like, I want to get. Yeah. I feel
the world needs to be built a little bit.
Yeah, I could have done with more world building. Yeah, exactly. So, but I really did enjoy it.
Yeah, I
had a good time with it. I laughed. I liked the characters. I'm excited to see them hunt Mephisto.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
So, we kind of done thoughts and theories of what's to come. Who do you really think it is? Do you think it actually could be Mephisto? Or do you think it actually is Loki?
I think it actually could be either of them. And it also could be anyone.
Do you think Doctor Strange will rock up in this show?
Again, maybe. I don't know. It's episode 1, isn't it? And like we've been here before. This is our 3rd rodeo now. Watching these Disney Plus shows, and because it's not even just the Marvel shows, because there's are you ever going to watch The Mandalorian?
No.
Do you give 2 shits if I spoil something that happens right at the end?
No.
Luke Skywalker shows up, right?
Right.
So it's Mark Hamill, but they've done the de-aging thing, and he's Luke Skywalker after Return of the Jedi, so it's very cool. I haven't watched it, but I know this happens. So then someone asked Elizabeth Olsen if there was going to be a cameo of that sort of level at the end of WandaVision, and she was like, yeah. And apparently there was plans for it to be Doctor Strange, right?
Right.
But that never happened. Then they asked Paul Bettany about the thing, and he made his comments about working with someone he'd never worked with before, and it was intense.
So did they cut the Doctor Strange scenes?
I believe they just changed what they were planning to do for whatever reason. Maybe it's because the film got delayed. I don't know. The Podlovians probably know better, because if you're listening to people you don't know talk about this, you probably read all the news and stuff. We try not to read as little as possible, but
we like to be sort of fresh.
Yeah, but it's implied that Paul Bettany was talking about himself anyway, because he has the ship of Theseus with white vision. So that's the actor he'd never worked with before, but it was intense. So he's just cheeky.
Good for you, Paul Bettany.
But so that fans have been sort of built up to wait, and so now I think everybody's sort of a little bit like, well, we don't know, because anybody could show up.
Yeah, they've got a world of characters. They're time jumping in this show. It could be bloody Captain America for all we know.
Captain America could show up like anyone.
Because they are time jumping.
Yeah. You could get Old Man Thor, like 1,000 years from now, show up. Like anything could happen, couldn't it?
They're jumping about through time. You see them go back this way. They've got things from the future. They know everything that's going to happen. So there's no reason a character who isn't dead, like Loki's dead.
Yeah.
So there's no reason a character who hasn't been killed.
Yeah, because
in what we've seen.
Yeah, who's to say that? Yeah, exactly. Who's to say that 1,000 years from now, Thor doesn't find himself in the sort of
or they just go back in time to an event we've already seen, and the actors there, and they have a whole new thing going on. Like exactly. You just don't know. It's very cool.
I was glad that they answered the question quite early on about why the Avengers weren't being arrested by these people.
Because that's what I thought.
Because I was like, hang on, he's not even aware that he did anything wrong. I mean, wrong because
but
anything time-wise.
Yeah, and they've literally...
And they were like, no, that was supposed to happen. It's like, wait a minute. Was it? Because they built a time machine and you're the timeline
I know.
sort of obsessed people.
But I was like, okay, I'll go with it. It's fine.
The only thing I can imagine is because their plan was not to disrupt the timeline, but to go and get the things they needed from the past, and then use them in the present and then destroy them, so that everything would be the same except that they would be able to use power that used to exist to bring everybody back. They didn't change what Thanos did.
Yeah.
He still did what he did. They just did something too. Yeah. I guess that's the only way to look at it.
Yeah, because they put stones back at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, they leave their precious timeline. Is that what they call it? The precious timeline? Miss Minutes was also a bit, what do you call it, Mr. DNA.
But I thought Mr. DNA as well. The kids love Mr. DNA. Our kids are very into Jurassic Park at the minute.
Yes, they are. They are. We happened to watch the first one with the oldest about a month ago. Yeah. And now they've got the games. They've got, he's got a lunch.
Yeah, they've got little Lego toys.
Yeah, it's dino crazy.
It is. It's all dinos all the time. Yeah. So, thank you very much for listening to our first Loki podcast.
Yeah, they'll probably get a little longer as we go on.
Yeah, because there'll be more to talk about. We will be doing them every Wednesday, unless something happens that we can't, in which case it'll be a Thursday.
Well, I think it's Wednesday now. We're recording it Wednesday morning, so I will edit it now. And we'll hopefully publish it Wednesday evening, but it might be Thursday morning.
It might be Thursday morning. Yeah, depends.
Just anyway.
Yeah. Basically, we'll try and get these recorded and released as straight after the release of the show, basically. So watch along with us. And as I say, you can find all the other podcasts we've done about the Marvel shows. And if you go to sirenstories.co.uk, you can find all of the other stuff we've got going on, plus all the books we've written and other people have written and the things that are coming, and all our social media, so you can come chat to us. But we're all over there, so come find everything that the Siren Stories team have got going on. There's lots happening. And we'll be back again soon.
Splendid.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.